Hello history fans, today is another Roman objects video where I'm showing you some everyday items or some cosmetic items that the Romans used, and I'm going to be getting ready as well because some are makeup objects, so it links together, it makes sense. Enjoy! Oh, and if you're here for the ASMR version, it will be the next upload on my channel. So let's dive into my box of history recreations. Now, I don't know about you, but the first thing I need to do when I wake up is go for a wee. And the Romans, they did not have toilet paper, so when they had to go to the loo, they would use a sponge on a stick, which I'm sure if you're a history fan, you've heard all about. But these were called a spongium or a tersorium, and they're a small piece of natural sea sponge tied onto a wooden stick, and they'd often have a little leather loop on the end as well. So public toilets in ancient Rome were long benches. They were sometimes made of marble with a hole to sit on with a hole in front for the use of the sponge. Now, Romans often wore long tunics with nothing underneath, so they were quite easy to use, and you'd often go in with friends as well, so you'd be chatting to your friends while doing your business, and then you could use this. Now, the way the toilets were made, like I said, there's a hole you sit on and then the hole goes out to the front, sort of like this, and you could use the sponge, you would go under and wipe, and then you'd run it. There would be a channel of running water at your feet at the bottom that you could clean it in, and you could then leave it in the water for the next person to come along and use. So that's the first part of your day. So next you might want to clean yourself. Now, as part of the ancient Roman bathing routine, you would rub yourself with oil, and after that's all rubbed in, you would use this, which is a strigil, which you could use to scrape away all the excess oil and dirt, just like this. And athletes would use them after games to scrape away dust or oil, and that was sometimes bottled and then used as a medicine for medical treatments, or sometimes it was considered an aphrodisiac, which each to their own, but if you like gladiator sweat, there you go. And in their homes they would have had big mirrors, but you could also have little ones that you could carry around with you, and it would be obviously more polished and shiny than this that you could use to see your reflection in and check throughout the day. Now next I have this little toolkit that would have been attached with a piece of string or leather just like this, that they could carry around with them or attach to their brooch, so they always had it with them. So first, sorry if you can hear it clattering, so first is this tiny little thing. Oh, where's the camera? There we are. And now this is an ear spoon or an ear scoop that they would use to clean up the wax in their ears. And this is a nail cleaner where you could clean underneath your nails or even clean like your cuticle. So they would use this, and then they would apply a mixture of goat's fat and blood. I'm not sure what that was intended to do, whether that helped it grow or something, but that was their nail care. And of course, hair on women is absolutely repulsive. So women would get rid of their hairs using tweezers, or they would sometimes shave using a resin paste like a wax, or they would use a pumice stone to scrape away hairs as well. And men used tweezers as well to remove their hairs because that was just considered good upkeep, I suppose. But men who wore makeup were considered like effeminate or immoral, even though some did lighten their complexion using white paste like the women, and wore perfume. So, lanolin was used as a moisturiser for the skin and for the hair, and they made different ointments or oils for different conditions as well, like for wrinkles or spots or sunspots or what else? Pimples or flaking, and they made from different ingredients like barley, honey, oils, vinegar, or even goose grease. And for sunspots specifically, they used the burnt ashes of snails. So, sorry if I start looking down here now, but in the Roman Empire, women wanted pale skin, pink cheeks, and dark eyes. And to get a pale complexion, they would sometimes use white chalk or even white lead, which, yes, is poisonous, but that's how they would achieve their look. Pink cheeks were considered a sign of good health, and they would use many different things to make this in, I think, a grinder like this. So you'd put either rose petals or poppy petals, red chalk, crocodile dung, red leg, or mulberry juices. Or there were other things, but they're the most common, we think. And you could put it in here and then use the slate to grind it, and then you could also push it into here to store it. And then you slide that over and you've got your little makeup compact from ancient Rome. How cool is that? So they liked big eyes, big eyebrows that extended inwards, and long eyelashes, and they would darken their eyebrows with soot or antimony, and they would darken the whole thing and then bring them inwards as well. But I'm not going to do that. I promise I haven't done this eyebrow loads darker, it's just the light's coming from here. To darken their eyes, they used a kohl that was made sometimes from saffron, sometimes from soot or antimony again, or sometimes from ashes, and the applicators would be dipped in water or oil before they were used. Sorry, I stopped doing that while filming because I realised I couldn't talk properly and concentrate. And colourful eyeshadows were used using different minerals like azurite, malachite, or even charred rose petals in grinders like this. These type of grinders originated in the Iron Age, but they mostly date to the Roman period, and they're little objects that were made of bronze or copper alloy, and they function as a pestle and mortar to grind up different minerals or precious stones in order to make eyeshadow. They could crush charcoal or stones like lapis lazuli or azurite to make colourful eyeshadow or eyeliner, and they're specially shaped so that once you've crushed it you can use it as an applicator as well and just plop it on your eye like that. Now when they were discovered they thought they were just pendants because of this loop that was made to attach it to a cord, and actually this design is believed to be almost exclusive to Britain because out of 500 examples of these found, only 2 were found in the rest of the empire. So that's pretty cool. And also they vary in shape and designs with various elaborateness as well, like some of them look like an animal head in some cases. These were used by wealthy women, and it's believed that they were created in response to the ideas of beauty and cosmetics that were coming across from the Mediterranean and other provinces of the Roman Empire, like as far as Egypt. And I think all these objects make ancient women seem more relatable and more real because they would follow trends just the same as we do. Now with hair, before Augustus, women had it quite simple. They would have either a single braid or they might just have a bun on their head, whereas after Augustus and especially the Flavian emperors, more elaborate styles were introduced, like having your hair piled high upon your head with big curls in the front, and they would even wear wigs just so it was easier to just put the hairstyle on. And they would even dye their hair as well, like for blonde you might use pigeon poo. So for their clothing they didn't have zips or buttons, they would use brooches. So these are examples of thistle brooches that are most commonly associated with the Claudian conquest in 43 AD. And they're quite similar or based on designs from the Gaelic or the German brooches that were used as well. I'll show you these, I'll flip the camera and show you them. Brooches were needed to fasten the clothes worn by the Romans, and they're like a safety pin and were developed earlier than Roman Britain, worn all the way back in the Iron Age. But the Romans introduced the different styles of brooches, like some are more decorative or even animal shaped. And this last thing I have to show you looks more of a Celtic style to me, so it may have been modelled off the brooches worn by Roman Britons who knew about or were living with both the Roman and the Celtic culture. So again, these used as a fastening like a zip or a button that you could use to pin your cloak or your Gaelic coat together from either side, and it's a little bit fashionable as well. And that is everything I have to show you today, so I hope you enjoyed this pretend get ready with me showing you the Roman version of the objects I'm using. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye!